So for 16, first thing we want to do is find the center, right?
Mhm.
It's going to be negative 4, 4. That is the point x negative 4, y 4, right there. Now, we want to drag out to negative 4 up to 7, right? Bring that down. Oh, that's why. Okay. Delete all. Negative 4, 4, up to negative 4, 7. So it's going to be that circle, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, to find the standard form, we got r is equal to the distance from our center up to that point, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the square root of negative 4 minus negative 4, that quantity squared, plus 4 minus 7, that quantity squared, which is going to be the square root of 0 plus 3 squared, well, negative 3 squared. Which is going to be the square root of 9, which is just 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, HK, that's our center. So that's going to be negative 4, 4. Agreed? So r squared is equal to x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Plugging everything together now. This tells us 3 squared is equal to x plus 4, that quantity squared, plus y minus 4, that quantity squared.
I have a question on a different question.
Okay? So, Yep.
Thank you.
not a problem.
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay, I'm on question 28.
28.
I'm stuck on A and B. I got part C done, but A and B, you don't have different numbers in there.
All right. Yeah, whenever you see red numbers, those are the numbers that change.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I give you my numbers. I am so lost. I think I have it typed in right, but it says I'm wrong.
Well, let's run through this problem first.
Okay. Let me write down what I have.
We got the point 2, 0. We've got the line. So this is going to be the point. This is going to be the line. 9x minus 3y is equal to 9. All right. First things first. Let's rewrite that line.
Get into line. Yeah.
So we're going to have 9x minus 9 is equal to 3y. Divide everything by 3. And we're going to have 3x minus 3 is equal to 1. All right. What we want now is the parallel line. on the line that's parallel and through the point 2, 0.
Okay.
Come back over here and notice our slope, M1, is equal to 3. We know that parallel lines have the same slope. M1 then has to be equal to M2, the slope of our second one, right?
Okay.
So this has to be equal to 3. All right, so far so good. Now we're going to use point slope or the point slope formula. Y minus YK is equal to M2 times X minus XK. Well, we know YK and XK is given that point. Let's plug those in. Y minus 0 is equal to, well, I'll come back to it in a second, X minus 2. Now we know M2 is equal to 3 because it's parallel to our original line.
Yeah.
So we can rewrite all of this now to get Y is equal to 3X minus 6.
Okay.
And that will be the line through the middle.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'll write that all down now.
So my points are 2, 2, and then the line is 12x minus 4, y equals 4. So, wait, okay.
You would have to follow the same sort of process here. First, put your line into point slope, or I mean into a slope intercept form. That'll give you your slope right away. So we have the slope of our first line. We know the point that we're concerned with. That's going to be 2, 0. We're going to get that point for both parts of this problem. Now we're going to come over here and say, well, in the case when we want the line that's parallel, that means slope 2 is going to have to be equal to slope 1. So slope 2 is going to be 3. We're going to say, all right, let's use point slope formula now to find the equation of our line. Point slope formula tells us y minus yk, y1, however you want to denote it, is equal to m2 times the quantity x minus whatever that x value is. You're going to massage it down to point to a slope intercept.
Okay.
Make sense?
The only part that I was lost, so I got it down to 3x minus 1 equals y. So would 3 be my M1 name as well?
So you got your line down to.
I got to that, yeah. And then,
Yes.
but, okay, so mine's 3x minus 1 now. So would it still be 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So point slope form, point intercept form. That is the form mx plus b is equal to y. M is your slope. B is your y intercept.
I have one more.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 19.
Number
I
19.
literally cannot figure it out. Write the general form of the equation circle.
Okay.
So my points, my center is -3, 5. My solution point is 0.
Okay. Well, first, before we jump to that next problem, if this was the perpendicular case, how would you change this?
It would be -1/3.
Yes. So the line perpendicular through to 0 M1 is going to be equal to 1 over negative M2. Or we can write this the other way, as M2 is equal to negative 1 over M1. This is going to be equal to negative 1/3. We're going to put it back 2 points of form. Y minus yk is equal to M2 x minus xk quantity. Down. Have y minus 0 is equal to negative 1 over 3 times x minus 2 . Y is equal to negative 1 over 3 x plus 2 over 3.
My notes are colorful. But my homework notes are a disaster. So,
It's got to be the other one. Yep.
yeah. Like that.
We are. We are. Okay, it wasn't those first set of notes. Huh. I'm sorry, say what? Okay, let me run through this general equation really first with her, and then we'll go to that. All right, so the general form of the circle, the general equation, is going to look like this, right? Looks like a beast.
Yeah. Perfect.
Keeping all the notation the same. Plus A1 squared plus bx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. A is not equal to 0. All right. So the standard form is the form x minus h quantity squared of y minus k quantity squared is equal to r squared, right?
Yeah, and I did all that, I just don't know how that goes into that.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, I understand standard form, stuff that switching.
Well, let's work all of this out. Our center, so HK is equal to -5, comma 3. So the radius then is going to be the distance between it and the solution point 0, 0. So we're going to have the distance formula, square root of -5 minus my mistake. So that'll work. -5 minus 0, quantity squared, plus 3 minus 0, quantity squared. Now all I'm doing is finding the distance between the center and one of those solution points, right? That's the same thing as the radius here. Agreed?
If you did it the opposite way, like I did it, so like my point is -3/5, so I did it like 0 minus -3, 0 minus 5. Does that matter?
Should still end up with the square root of 34, right? Okay, so this is going to be our radius. Now, coming back over here to the standard form, we know that x minus -5, that quantity squared, plus y minus 3, that quantity squared, is equal to the square root of 34 squared, so just 34. Agreed? So from here, we go ahead and make this a +5, right? Just add 5. Because it's minus a negative. This thing squared is going to be x squared plus 10x plus 25. Agreed? Plus this thing squared is going to be y minus 6y squared minus 6y plus 9 is equal to 34. Agreed? So now you group everything together. We can drop our parentheses and group our constants together to get x squared plus y squared plus 10x minus 6y plus 34 is equal to 34.
So just a breakdown of what you did, just so I can, in my mind, you went from general form, then you found that with the distance formula, you used the two things that gave us to find the radius, and then with the radius, then you went all the way back to the.
So what I first did was just note on what the center is, right? I said, all right, find the distance, because that's going to be the radius, right? The distance from our center to that point. Then I said, put this in standard form. Standard form. Now, once it's in standard form, massage the algebra. Go ahead, square both of these terms. Expand them out, right? When you do, you get this thing in purple here. Now we're going to drop the parentheses and group terms. So I've got x squared and y squared. I got 10x got negative 6y. Then I added 25 and 9, right? All of that's equal to 34. Now we're going to subtract 34 from both sides.
So now we subtract 34 from both sides.
No, not quite yet. Because we have to get it into general form, which is equal to 0.
And now we're there.
Yes.
So. Wow.
That's awesome. I like that. I just wasn't following the process, but now I get it.
This is actually part of the reason why I wanted to come back and actually have the opportunity to do some of the problems in class, because I'm not going to have enough time to go through every lecture and go through a bunch of problems, just because the way this class is built over the summer. So I think it's important to actually do some of the homework problems like this.
Definitely appreciate it.
So what?
Definitely appreciate it.
No bigs. I mean, it's the job though, right? Like that's what we should be doing if we actually care that you'll learn. So you said in week 2 you had a question, right?
Yeah. It was 6.
6, okay. Question 6. Yeah, domain and range of this thing.